The year is 2275, and it's almost been 200 years since the bombs dropped on the United States. Today, we're in California. We're going to be guiding the new California Republic into the future, into the 2nd century of the apocalypse. The new California Republic has come a long way since Vault 15. Founding the city of Shady Sands in 2122. In about 60 years, the city would go on to create a federation, the new California Republic, a federation of 5 states. From Shady Sands, the Republic rules over a vast dominion, the most populated and developed state in the wasteland by far, but still rather far behind. Political corruption is still a major part of the Republic, even though they try to aspire to avoid it. Brahmin barons still leverage some of the largest hold over the agricultural economy, and the military often backs them, even if it is against the interests of the people. As of 2273, Aaron Kimball, a former military man, is the head of the Republic, the elected president, and a controversial figure at that. After the declining period of Wendell Peterson, Aaron Kimball is a breath of fresh air, at least for the military and the Brahmin barons. For everyone else, less so. Their opposition in the Boneyard. Allgood Murphy. Allgood Murphy is an anti-corruption candidate. His main shtick for being in the Senate? Anti-corruption. That's all it's about. He has been up Kimball's ass for his entire presidency. And due to a fiasco in the Navarro territories, he just got his ticket to impeach Kimball. With the Navarro probe underway, we have a conflict ahead of us. But first, we have territories to secure. The Navarro territories were organized after the Brotherhood NCR joint coalition against the Enclave at Navarro. The NCR would seize the territories, but they were always disputed. Shi settlers in Fusang, as well as autonomists along the coast, wanted their freedom. Tensions boiled over with the Battle of the Bodega. In the Shi ethnic town of Fusang, NCR tax collectors were attacked, and the territories had to respond. A formal military conflict was declared, and the Navarro territories were now officially in crisis. Dedicating the entire military to this would have been political suicide. So, in order to maintain stability at home amid corruption and raiders, it was necessary to only send a small detachment. We sent 8 companies to the Navarro territories as support, and used them to the best of our ability to secure the territories. Preparations are in place, and the formations are marching into the Navarro territories. It's up to our troops to secure victory for us now. Moving into position, our forces find that, for the most part, our enemy is disorganized compared to our well-trained professional infantry. A small pocket of free folk infantry is cut off and crushed. Quickly, we find our way to the sea once again. The Pacific is in our sight. The glorious coast of Navarro is once again ours. Now it's just a matter of crushing what's left. Though this war seems beneath us for the most part, the Shi troops have taught us something. Power armor. The Navarro Territory War will influence our doctrine going forward. The doctrine of General Oliver will be adopted, that being the doctrine of power armor. Power armor is, of course, a very big help when it comes to pushing. It's almost as effective as tanks. In fact, I find out later it's more effective than tanks. Despite the Shi having power armor, they just don't have the numbers. We walk around their power armor and begin to encircle it. And in doing so, we secure victory, pressing south, finishing off the Free Folk in the north, and the Navarro territories are ultimately secured. The Navarro crisis was solved. The Navarro probe, initiated by Allgood Murphy, would fail, and President Kimball would secure his position, at least for now. Mayor Hayes of Dayglow had been using this period of crisis to propose reforms to help popularize the current administration. Among these reforms were things like building railways and progressive income tax. Mayor Hayes is from old world political royalty, so to speak. Being a descendant of Rutherford B. Hayes, one of the old presidents of the United States from well over 300 years ago at this point, he has some more political gusto to him than others. He's the head of the NCR's new and popular Old World Party. The Americanists in the Senate are essentially those who see the NCR as the inheritor of the American legacy, the American future, and the American past. President Kimball is through and through a military man, and what this means is he is trying to expand the military, reinforce the military, and especially reinforce the Mojave expedition. This is all still very unpopular with the people, though, because reeling from the Brotherhood NCR war, the NCR was forced to abandon its gold standard after a raid of Shady Sands caused the gold banks to be destroyed. With no gold, the currency is now in a state of hyperinflation. The policies of Wendell Peterson and their successor Kimball have been passable, but they have not fully recovered the economy yet. However, Grant C. Hayes has promised the economic reform necessary. This hasn't stopped Aaron Kimball from pursuing military campaigns anyway, going after the Rapids and later Baja California in an effort to expand the NCR's economy through exploitation and colonization rather than domestic growth. Some would say that the tribes of the Rapids and the cartels of Baja California deserved a military campaign and were going to have one anyway, but it doesn't sway the voters. The elections of 2275 are coming up quick, and the voters are not happy. With the elections underway, it's time for the people to choose a candidate, and it's happy days with Hayes. As far as the election goes, the only state that goes to Kimball is his Brahmin Baron friends up in Redding, the far northern state. As the elections draw to a close, it's obvious who's won. It's the man with reform, the man with a plan, the spirit of 76, Grant C. Hayes. After a grand inauguration speech in Shady Sands, it was time to gather the elites together for a party, a meeting, and ultimately a cleaning.
Fuck it. I'll do it myself.
What? Who's there?
Well, the Brahmin Barons just exploded, so the troublesome elites are no longer a problem for Grant C. Hayes. He's the kind of old-school American where you just blow up your issues. That was a pretty common way of handling things back then. But just because he blows up his rivals doesn't mean he doesn't intend to do good things. He's codified truly free speech in the Constitution. He's restoring nuclear plants. He's putting the NCR on a track of technological progress above all else. No more need to scavenge what is left of the wasteland. Create new. Build new cities. Rebuild the old cities. I mean, all the structures are there. Why not do it? Grant C. Hayes has for a long time looked at the Legion as technologically inferior savages that simply rove from town to town, destroying everything they find and destroying the local culture. He knows them, he knows that they're across the Colorado, but he doesn't put much stake in their power. He doesn't believe that they're that powerful. He believes that the NCR's training and technology is superior enough that it should not matter. But the Legion has something on its side. Numbers, and a lot of them. They have at least 100,000 recruits to pull from all over their nation, and Mexican allies to boot. As they come across the Colorado, you have to ask, can we really hold on? Despite our preparations, and despite our technological advancements, we found that the Legion actually were quite a match. Holding at the rivers was the most that we could do in many junctions. And you'll see that because while this footage that I'm about to go through lasts a total of 3 hours, most of it is just holding the line and not being able to push across. Initially, we were able to get across the river, but it just didn't hold that well. We had 3 or 4 tiles across the river, but Caesar would keep up with naval invasions, and we were barely holding on with the men that we had. Holding the territories that we had gained in the north and along the west coast, as well as the constant onslaughts from Caesar's Legion, were seriously costing us in terms of equipment. Our power armor stocks and our infantry equipment stocks were dwindling, and it was really difficult for me to find a way to do it. This pocket down here in the south where Caesar had landed, I was crushing it mostly with half-strength power armor, which wasn't going so well at a point. We concentrated our forces at the dam to try and push across from the Hoover Dam, but Caesar's Legion had other ideas. They wound up getting a beachhead south of the dam and began to cut our forces in half at the mountains surrounding Helios 1. And then they got a river crossing across into Rapids territory, and another naval invasion in Baja California. The river crossing into the Rapids territory began rapidly growing, and we were being pushed further and further back. But the line eventually solidified once Caesar hit the extent of his supply range. Now we were able to even the grounds, but we were still heavily lacking equipment, and we had to remedy this somehow. Sadly, the bridgehead in the Mojave could not be closed, and we had to completely pull out of the Mojave, holding at the Long 15, where that front would be frozen for the rest of the war. The casualties in this war are easily the highest thing the Wasteland had ever seen to this point, and they would only double by the end of the war, from the 70,000 you saw now to 150,000 just for the Legion and its allies. It's not like we weren't taking losses too, but they were a lot lesser. Grant was right about one thing. We had the technology. We had a lot of manpower as well. While the Legion was on pretty much scraping the barrel, we were still only on extensive conscription. We just were going to win eventually. It was an incredible war of attrition, this whole thing. And there were points where we nearly cracked. But we turned it around. We got our equipment deficits back on track, and we held out long enough for the Legion Civil War. That's right. Who remembers Caesar's tumor? It killed him. Cancer saved the fucking day. Now I don't have to fight through Arizona. Holy shit, I can walk through Arizona now. Well, here's how it goes fighting a legion divided into 5 pieces.
Foot tap, spine snap, to the rhythm so free. Ass sway, we play, to the rebel decree. Oh, slide on the shoes, feel the beat and then glide. The rhythm's contagious, there's nowhere to hide. We're twisting, we're shouting, the night's just begun. This rockin' revival, second to none. Keys that ring, a thundering rhythm like a runaway train. We're moving, we're grooving with a fire inside. This anthem, we're shouting with pride we confide. Rock and roll, baby, it's the beat of the heart. Drums kicking in with a thunderous roar. Crowds all screaming, can't help but adore. Grab your partner, let's twist and spin. Fuel up the jukebox, that rockabilly grin. We're laughing, we're loving, in rhythm's embrace. Line after line, line after line, no time to waste.
And so the Legion was struck down, and from the Colorado east all the way deep into New Mexico, much land had been claimed by the New California Republic by Grant C. Hayes and the Americanists. The Old World Party had always wanted to harken back to a time of an older America. Grant C. Hayes has such sympathy for it that he was always accused of being former Enclave. Well, the accusations were true, but he was of a faction that believed the NCR was America Reborn, and that it would be wiser to simply be elected into office. And it was. And now, they have the best shot at reforming America that they've ever had, without the need for megalomaniac AI computers like they have in Chicago, like they have in DC. We can do it with men, with the hands of humanity. We have rebuilt America, but we still have so much left ahead of us. Motorizing the Army was the first step of Army reforms in peacetime, and the result was miraculous. We had eliminated those threats most closest to us, but there still remained the threat of Mexico, the threat of Texas. These massive nations and their populations stood directly in our path. We might be able to negotiate with Mexico, but we could not negotiate with Texas. All of America must be reincorporated into it. This is non-negotiable. We've got supply and we vastly outnumber them on this front. Yeah, because where's that other army? Is it? No, it's still being produced. Alright. It's been produced. Is that really the best Texas has? That's all Texas can muster? You're joking. That can't be all that Texas has. After the annexation of Texas, we made a deal with the AI Emperor of Mexico to trade our Mexican territories for their Texan territories. The AI was strangely agreeable. With Houston again under the control of the United States, the first manned space flight in 200 years was sent abroad. And then, once that was done, the military turned their view towards Oregon to finally reach the American northern border for the first time in 200 years.
Land of the empire builders, land of the golden west, conquered and held by free men, fairest and the best. Onward and upward ever, forward and on and on. Hail to the land of heroes, my Oregon. Land of the rose and sunshine, land of the summer's breeze, laden with health and vigor, fresh from the western seas, blessed by the blood of martyrs, land of the setting sun. Hail to the land of promise, my Oregon. Land of the empire builders, land of the golden west, conquered and held by free men, fairest and the best. Onward and upward ever, forward and on and on. Hail to the land of heroes, my Oregon. Hail to the land of heroes, my Oregon. My Oregon. My Oregon.
Consolidating the United States would be a long, long road. Many disparate states, tribes, corporations, rogue robots, religious fanatics stood in our way between unification and this horrible apocalypse that we find ourselves in. We had to take out every single one of them. And honestly, if I included every single conflict, it would be really, really long and really, really boring. So we're just going to fast forward through pretty much everything up to the East Coast War. The Canadian People's Front owned a considerable part of Northern America. We went ahead and invaded the communists, kicked them out of America, and replaced their government with a friendly democratic government. We also then went ahead and consolidated up to St. Louis. We knocked out the remains in the mountains. We knocked out Oklahoma. And we pushed our border all the way up to the Chicago Enclave, which controlled everything from Michigan south to New Orleans. From here, we knocked out the Enclave, who were simply just spread too thin. They just didn't have the units to cover the line. And from there, I declared war on every single East Coast state at the same time. Frankly, I was just really tired and I just wanted it to be done. I had spent literally 20 in-game years at this point. Getting to this point, we were nearing 2092 or 2292, and it's just it took so long to do this. After great struggle and way too long of a game, we have done it. America is reborn in all its glory, from sea to shining sea. It may not be the 350 million souls of 2077, but it is our union of 22 million souls. We will rise, we will return to that pre-war glory, and we will see the coming of the Lord. Hello everybody. This recording took me a while. This is something I've been compiling over a few weeks, but I swear it's made the editor lag so hard I couldn't even use most of the footage. Anyhow, if you made it this far, thank you very much. Don't forget to join the Discord link in the description if you haven't already. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you when I see you.